Having a completely natural birth is not as difficult as you might think, and it is achievable for most women. However, we have been led to believe that it's one of the most frightful and painful experiences that a woman can go through. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you're currently pregnant or trying to conceive, you'll want to keep watching this video. Do you want to give birth at a hospital, birth center, or at home? And why? How do you envision yourself giving birth? How do you feel? How do you see it? Who is next to you? Which interventions are you comfortable with and which ones you're not? These are all very important questions that we as soon-to-be mothers should be asking ourselves. But most of the times we don't do it or we're not encouraged to do so. I am a proud mama of two beautiful girls, a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. And today I want to talk to you about my second birth with my daughter Elise, how she was born in a natural, unmedicated way outside of a hospital in a birth center. I'll talk about why my husband and I decided to do it this way and how I prepared to have an unmedicated birth and how you can start doing it too. Let's start with why. Why did we decide to go down this route? When my first daughter Camille was born, my husband and I, as any other couple in Germany, we took a birthing course. This course was quite superficial. We just learned about some birthing positions for labor and for pushing, some breathing techniques, and what we could overall expect at the hospital. However, I never really put much thought into it. I thought I will just go to the hospital and I will hand over the control to the medical staff because they know what's best for me and for my baby. So needless to say, I came fully unprepared to the hospital, just expecting to hear from the nurses, midwives, and the doctors what I should be doing. The only thing I did know was that I didn't want to have an epidural because I was afraid of some secondary effects that the epidural could have in myself and in my baby. So long story short, I gave birth naturally without an epidural at the hospital. But the pain really took me by surprise. I forgot how to breathe. I started to tense and squeeze my hands, my eyes, and started to panic. I felt completely out of control and I became terrified about every new contraction that was coming. Camille was born naturally at the hospital, and while I avoided having an epidural, this was far from the experience that I had wished for myself, for my husband, and for my daughter. With my second daughter, I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't find myself in the same situation. That's why we decided, me and my husband, that we had a much better chance to have a completely natural birth if we went away from the hospital. A home birth sounded very nice, but it wasn't really an option for us. We live in Germany and Munich in a very small apartment. So after doing extensive research and visiting a birth center, we decided that this was the best option for us. What is a birth center? Before this, I didn't actually know about birth centers. I had no idea that there was something besides a hospital and a home birth. We live in Germany, so I will give you the definition that I found for here, but it is pretty similar in the US and other countries in Europe, so I will just read it out loud for you. Birth centers are midwife-led facilities that offer a home-like environment for natural births. They prioritize personalized care without routine medical interventions and are suitable for women with low-risk pregnancies. Continuous midwifery support is provided, and in case of any complications, a transfer to a hospital is arranged. So it is essentially a home birth, but at a dedicated facility. As you can see in the pictures that I'm showing you, it is very different from the hospital setting. There are no bright lights, no machine noises, no constant monitoring, no people coming in and out every 15 minutes, and no strong sanitizer smell. Instead, this room had a very zen and calm feeling, and it had everything that you might need for laboring and for pushing. The midwives there were very professional and competent and very caring. I really enjoyed going to my prenatal care with them because it was just like going to take a cafe with one of my friends and just talking about myself, how I felt physically, emotionally, and mentally about my pregnancy. The whole experience gave me a great sense of confidence and trust. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. How did I prepare for my unmedicated birth? Starting around the 32nd week of my pregnancy, I started doing several things that I will tell you about. In no particular order, I would consider that all of them are very important, but I will highlight the ones that were like key to me. I did a very extensive research on the internet, especially in YouTube, watching videos. I watched pretty much videos from doulas, nurses, midwives, and other moms that had unmedicated births. Videos about pain coping mechanisms, breathing techniques, positions, overall health during pregnancy. This really helped me to have a better idea about what to expect and how to prepare during birth. Especially useful, I found a doula whose name is Bridget Teyler. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She has tons of resources about birth, pregnancy, and postpartum. If you haven't heard about her, check her out. I will link her channel down below. She is very good. I truly recommend you to watch her. I also did a very extensive research about the most common procedures performed at the hospital. Even though we were not going to go to the hospital, this was very interesting for me because it helped me to understand better what happened at the hospital the first time with Camille, and also to prepare for anything that could happen in case that we would have to be transferred to the hospital if something would arise. So I took a very comprehensive birthing course. Like I mentioned the first time, we took one that was very superficial. So we took one this time that was very extensive and went very deep into every single part of labor and the pushing stage. This course was done by the same doula that I mentioned before, Bridget Teyler. The name is Built to Birth. I cannot recommend this enough. I totally love her birthing course. If I would be pregnant again, I would take the course again. I'm not a sponsor or of any kind. So if you're interested, I'm going to link it down below. Just check it out in case you're looking for a birthing course. Number 4, I practice hypnobirthing. Hypnobirthing has become quite popular, and I can totally see why. It taught me how to meditate and how to release tension. Every single day in the last weeks of my pregnancy, I would just put on my earpods and would listen to hypnobirthing videos while breathing in slowly and exhaling slowly as well. And also while mentally scanning my whole body and looking for tension. This practice helped me to fully relax during labor and let my body do the work, let my body open to give birth to my daughter. I will link down some of my favorite hypnobirthing recordings in case you are interested in checking them out. Number 5, I stayed active. It is no secret that fitness for pregnant women is great. Every woman should be doing it. Just find something that you enjoy doing. It doesn't matter what it is. It can just be going around the block or doing some body weight exercises at home. For me, it was strength training because I have been doing this for the last 5 years. I continued doing it during my pregnancy. I also incorporated some exercises that will help my baby to move in the best position for birth. Number 6, I practice labor and pushing positions alone and also with my husband. This is very important because when the day comes, we can get overwhelmed with the contractions and with everything that is going on, and we might forget them. And if you practice them, you're more likely to remember them. So you should be practicing these positions also so that you know what feels more comfortable for you and which position you're more likely to have or to perform on the day. Number 7, I wrote down how I envision myself giving birth. This was so important because it helped me to understand better how I wanted to feel, what I needed, and what I wanted on the day of my labor and birth. Things might change in the moment. You cannot know what is going to happen, but I think it's very important to have an idea of what you want for that day, how do you see yourself giving birth, so that you can recognize better when things are straying from that vision and ask for help or try to correct the path so you can go back into that vision that you had for yourself. Number 8, I created a birthing plan. I think most women do this, even if they're giving birth at a hospital. And I think it's very important, especially so that your care providers can know how to help you better and what kind of things you want and you don't want. Me at the birth center, for example, I ask Minimal interruptions, a lot of privacy, dim lights, no funny or intense smells, and I wanted to give birth in a tub. Just write it down. It doesn't have to be very complicated. There are some like samples how you can do it on the internet. So just do it and give it either at the hospital or at the birth center or to your midwife if you're having a home birth. Number 9, I visited the birth center several times before giving birth. Even if you're giving birth at a hospital, I think it's very important that you become familiarized with the place you're going to be in. This will give you a sense of safety and it will help you to feel more comfortable on that day because you will not be in an unfamiliar place. Number 10, I created a task list for my husband. So my husband was my primary support partner alongside my midwife. And while I love him, he tends to forget things. So I made him memorize the list and we practiced everything that he needed to do in this list. If you have a support person, it doesn't matter if it's your husband, your partner, sister, doula, whoever it is, make a list for them and make them know how they can support you and what are the things that you expect from them on that given moment. They shouldn't be just there to watch as spectators. They should take an active role in helping you to achieve this thing, which is very challenging giving birth. Your list may look different than mine, but here are some things that my list included. Keeping me hydrated, reminding me to go to the bathroom, taking photos and videos because I forgot the first time, grounding me with positive affirmations whenever I feel fearful or tense, applying counter pressure on my hips, and reminding me how to breathe, and many other more. I think this is very important. Type down your list and give it to your birthing partner. Number 11, I watch tons of videos of positive birth stories on YouTube. I think this was and is very important for women that are striving for an unmedicated and natural birth. It really helps you to envision yourself giving birth in a calm, composed, and beautiful way. Because if all of these women have managed to do it, you should be able to do it as well. This was very empowering for me. I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed watching all these women and hear their positive birth stories and how they felt. So I cannot recommend this enough. Just pick some videos and drink a coffee. It's very useful. Number 12 and final, I practice the different breathing techniques for each stage of labor and pushing. As I mentioned before, in my first birth, I forgot how to breathe. For me, this was key to be able to have an unmedicated birth. Breathing has a huge impact on the brain, and it helps you to deal with the pain of the contractions. I cannot stress this enough. You need to learn how to breathe and master those techniques. I'm going to link down below a video from the same doula I mentioned before. I'm such a fan of hers. Watch it. Those videos really helped me to learn how to breathe in each stage of labor. Like I said, practice them, master them, and this will help you tons during your labor. Woof, that was a lot of information. There are tons of ways to prepare for labor, but these were the ones that helped me the most. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, nurse, doula, or midwife. All of this information is based on my own opinions and my personal experience. I like to emphasize that I'm not special. I had a low-risk pregnancy, as I mentioned before, and a very strong motivation to give birth naturally because I knew that this was the best way to go for myself and for my baby. I truly believe that our bodies are made to give birth naturally. By doing it so, we're giving our babies the best start in life and also to ourselves in our journey as new mothers. A positive or negative experience can really set the tone for what is to come in your postpartum and motherhood journey. So please, please, please don't do the same mistake that I did by coming completely unprepared to your labor. The key takeaway should be that you should take an active role in your labor, what you want, what you need. You should know these things before you go into that hospital or the birth center or home birth. You should take the reins and empower yourself with as much information as you can about your pregnancy and labor. The more informed you are, the stronger, more confident, calm, and less fearful you will feel when the day comes. Because I prepared the way I did, I was able to feel in complete control over my body, over the situation, and I was completely relaxed during the entire time. I strongly believe that this preparation helped me to have such an easy and almost pleasant birth experience. Even the midwives told me that they were very impressed about how composed, calm, and in full control I was. I understand that not all women can have an unmedicated birth, but I strongly believe that most women with low risk pregnancies can have an unmedicated birth. Most women should strive for having a natural birth while seeking the right support for them to do it. Giving birth to my 2 daughters naturally was one of the most challenging things that I have ever done in my life. But they were the most rewarding things that I have ever done, especially the second time with my daughter Elise. After her birth, I felt so high on love, pride, and confidence. I couldn't believe what I had just done and what my body just did. It was the perfect rite of passage for me as a new mom of 2 girls, and it filled me with trust in myself and also in my intuition as a mom. All right, the video ended up being a lot longer than I expected, that I wanted it to be. I'll just say this: empower yourself with knowledge, prepare accordingly, be brave, and trust in yourself and in your body because it was made to give birth naturally. What do you think? Do you see yourself having a natural birth? Have you had one? What are some useful tips that helped you to achieve it? Leave it in the comments below. Also, if you had any questions, just drop them down below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, found some helpful tips, and even felt a little bit inspired. That was my goal. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!